G'day, welcome back to the channel, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm MP Numbers, and today we're going to be getting some Guilds of Ravnica draft on. Now, we're getting close to the end of Guilds of Ravnica with Ravnica Allegiance just around the corner, so this is my probably just getting one last one in. Hopefully you've had a chance to draft a ton of it. I think it's a fun format. A lot of people don't necessarily agree with me, but yeah, look, I've had a lot of fun. Before we go too far, as always, you know the rules of YouTube. If you like the video, you must hit the like button. If you dislike the video, you can hit the dislike button. Subscribe to see more. There's a bell if you want to do that, but whatever. And I thought I'd ask a quick question in those comments below. Let me know what card surprised you most in Guilds of Ravnica. Like, was there a card that you thought would be great coming into it that ended up being terrible? Card that was terrible ended up being good? Let's get some conversation flowing. I really want to hear your thoughts, and obviously if you have any exciting predictions for Ravnica Allegiance with the 5 new sets coming, the 5 new guilds coming out. But let's move on. Let's draft. Hopefully we get some good stuff. Let's play some Magic. Okay, so I'm pretty excited off the bat. We start with a Legion Warboss. I love opening Legion Warboss because it does put you straight in to a solid to good Boros, and Boros aggro is my favourite way to play. Let's for a second pretend that's not there. Citywatch Sphinx is a fine card in the Demir deck. Necrotic Wound I've played a couple of times. Swarm Companions works in Selesnya, but Selesnya is like Devious Cover Up does some sweet stuff in a Demir deck. Leapfrog's playable, but you wouldn't take it over a Radical ID or a Devious Cover Up. And there's a couple of random cards at the bottom here, but we're definitely taking Warboss. Second place probably goes to what, Devious Cover Up? I don't know, what do you think? Now we're really hoping to pull an aggressive, is it? No. Boros, I suppose you could play Is It here. It's not terrible to have this at your 3-drop if you're playing aggressive Is It, like Electromancer would do fine there. Enhanced Surveillance is a card I don't hate to have in my Demir decks, but I don't look to play it, straight up front. We're not seeing anything super exciting for our Boros deck, so the choices we have here is we could take Discovery Dispersal, which is probably the best card in the pack, or Electromancer is a card that I love to have. It matches the colour of my Warboss, but it kind of pushes us into that Is It aggro. I'd really prefer to be Boros aggro if I'm going to be completely honest. Other choice we could try, and if we wanted to force Boros, we could take Swarm Companions, we could take one of these white cards, but they're very, very subpar. I think I'd prefer to have an Electromancer in my sideboard than one of these cards in my main board generally. So let's do that. Alright, new pack. Hypothesizzle. Great Is It card. 10th District Guard, if we want it, we'll get it very, very late. Random 3-drops again, we'll get them late. It works like the 10th District Guard. Bargy Sargy is a good finisher for these aggressive decks, and Justice Strike is a great removal spell. So the question we have to ask ourselves here is, what do we want to do? Do we want to take Justice Strike as probably the best choice of all 3 in a vacuum? Because it's pretty solid. We could take the Hypothesizzle, which would be a finisher on our Is It deck. Well, not finisher, but removal stuff on our Is It deck. Bargy Sargy to hold red, because that's our only current theme. None of the other colour cards really interest us here. So I think, for me, and the way that I like to play and build my decks, I think I'm going to take the Sizzle. Yeah. Justice Strike Circle. Let's take Sizzle. Let's take the Sizzle. Our next pack sees a Demir Spybug, which is an uncommon. I was thinking about doing some pauper stuff, but I thought it was common. That's not going to do anything for us. So I think our only real pick here is the Integrity Intervention. It's a card we can play if we do stick to blue-red, if we want to as a combat trick. Pack Beast. It's not the kind of card I want when I'm going Electromancer, Warboss, and 2 and 3 drops. Just remember we're probably playing blue, so we can look at our blue cards as well. We've got Altitude's not a bad card if we're going for spells, but we're not quite there. Informant does not suit the deck that I want to build, but it's a good card to have. If we're taking the Justice Strike, we'd definitely be taking this now, but I think I want to take the Altitude. I think I really want to find cheap blue-red spell creatures. I'm just going to take the random blue 2-drop here. I'm feeling that I just want to be attacking, basically, is where I'm at the moment. I think we might be passing a good Boros deck here. It's going to hurt us to see these kind of cards come around. Leapfrog is fine but not great. We might just take the Legionnaire here to keep our options open. We've probably passed one of the bots into Boros, and that's where it's going to get tricky. So at this point, the only real choices are the Witness. We could take the Demotion, stop something blocking. That does work if we're in Izzet, but I think Sworn Companions might just be the way to go here. We're a little bit low all over the place right now. None of these cards are good for anything we want to do, so let's just put a Informant in the sideboard. We'll chuck a Leapfrog if we end up in Izzet. Sure, whatever. Okay, with some random cards here. Gravitic Punch is not a terrible card. I wish I could organise these because I want to move them away. Gravitic Punch, I kind of just want to have a 3-drop here. Like I said, if we're not playing these two cards, we've got 2-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 3-drop spell. So another Gravitic Punch doesn't do much for us yet. Whereas Halberdier may actually be played, so let's take it. Disappearance for the sideboard, sure. Maximize altitude, we're probably not playing a second one, but we'll take it. Alright, what are we thinking, guys? How about what mistakes have we made so far? That's the big question. Where would you be if you drafted this? Do you think you'd be in Boros? Do you think you'd be sitting in Izzet with me? Or were we completely off? Baji Saji is probably the best card here. Dream Eater. So the question is, how much do we want to stick to this aggressive thing that we've tried to build? So if we're not playing super aggressive, we're cutting this thing. I think we just want to take the Saji here and look at having that as our top end. Erratic Cyclops is not a card that I want. Fire Urchin we can probably take here. Our spells, we've got 2, 3. We definitely will pick up some spells as we go, because that's obviously the deck that we're building into here. Now this would have been great areas deck, but you know what? We're moving on from that. We're getting on with our life. Capture Sphere might not be terrible just to have in the deck as a one-off removal spell to push damage through, so we'll take it. We may not play it, but we'll take it. Goblin Banneret's what we want to see. 1-drops that do lots of damage. Pastoral Adept is not unplayable in these decks because you can definitely use them to get the damage through. Another Electromancer versus a Cosmo Wave. I would expect to get the Cosmo Wave back. There could definitely be an argument there for taking the Cosmo Wave because we're taking most of the Izzet cards that we're seeing, and we're definitely not passing anybody into Izzet, considering how these bots work. Let's take a white 2-drop just in case, because there's nothing else here. Velocity versus Rage versus Ball versus not Velocity, Pastoral Adept. Let's take the spell here. Street Right, no. Let's take another 2-drop. We're definitely... So the cards that I was hoping to see that we're not seeing are cards like the 2-1 that deal 1 damage when it gets blocked, the 2-1 that stops walls from blocking, just the random red 2-drops. Obviously whoever we're passing into Boros is taking all those, and that is hurting us here. I don't think we've drafted this optimally, if I'm going to be completely honest. We're just taking cards here. We're not seeing anything that's going to be useful for us. If I have to play Pastoral Adept, I'm probably going to be pretty sad, but let's see what we end up. Oh, Venerated Loxodon. Alright, let's look at our white cards in our sideboard here. I think we need to lock it in here, say we're definitely going to be Izzet. So if we're going to go that way, place it as a Sabotage. It's not the worst card to play. Or we could just take the Hypothesizzle here. I think we'll take Hypothesizzle. Double Electromancer really helps me make that decision. So this is the 2-drop I've been looking for. Also wouldn't hate to have an Electromancer, but we see Murmuring Mystic, one of the best blue cards in the set. How many spells do we have? 2, 3, 5. Not a lot. We just have to take it though, right? Like it's Mystic versus Goblin at the moment. Yeah, let's take the Mystic. I'd love to see like a wee Dragonauts. That Lazav is so sweet, but we're not. We're way too far away from blue-black. Another Legionnaire. Beast of the Mage is fine here. I played one Is It deck where I had two Beast of the Mages, but not a single one of my spells targeted friendly. Like they're all removal spells, and that was kind of terrible. Direct Current, obviously, what we're taking here because that's just what we want to see. Sure Strike, a solid card here. So we are getting a little bit paid off. Another 2-drop we want. Yep. Guild Mage, that's awesome. It's a 2/2 for 2 that can also do stuff if the game ends up going long. We'll take Gravitic Punch. I'm not sure if we're playing it. We'll work that out in deck building. Blue card. Torch Courier. I don't think we want Torch Courier, right? How many creatures do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 creatures. I think we'll just take the Velocity here. I'm much more likely to play that. I don't know if I'll actually play either of them, but I am more likely to play that than anything else. Moving on. What does that actually do? Nope, not playing that. So this deck is definitely not optimal. Is it aggro that I was hoping it would be? We didn't get Dragonauts, we didn't get Piston Fists, we didn't get those cards that really just help you out from that point of view. But let's see what we can put together here. So we're currently sitting with, what, 10 spells and... Okay, so that gives us 14 creatures, 10 spells for 24. We could probably use 16 land in this deck. What are we? 2s and 3s. So choices here, we can either cut the Captured Sphere or cut a land. We could even cut one of the Maximizers actually. Maybe they're not as good as we want. Like, again, if we had the Piston Fist Cyclops, if we had Wee Dragonauts, we definitely want all of these. But I think we'll just cut one of these. We'll go 17 lands because we've got ways to discard cards, right? We can discard here, but that's non-land. Discard, 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 discard. That seems fine. It's definitely not the best Is It deck I've ever drafted, but it's not the worst. Look, the rest of the videos will be through the playlist. Thanks for watching. Again, like if you like, dislike if you like, comment, let me know where I went wrong and what you would have done. And hopefully you enjoyed the games. Have a good one.